All right, guys, let's have a conversation about Mercury retrograde that is happening from the 30th of January to the 20th of February, 2021. So let's begin by talking about what a retrograde is, right? Retrograde is when a planet appears to be either stationary or moving backward in its orbit. And this is completely simply from our geocentric perspective, our Earth-based viewpoint, right? Because planets don't move backwards. They just look like they do. They look at from where we're standing. And so this is always a reminder that perspective is everything, right? So Mercury is the planet that rules communication, expression of thoughts and ideas. And that can be whether verbal or written, or anything like that. So this is about really having clarity. And a Mercury retrograde is a period where we are asked, just like that planet is slowing down, to slow, to be deliberate, right? To re-examine, to reevaluate, to redirect, right? To sit with what's been going on, especially in terms of communication. And as Mercury is in Aquarius, which is the sign of the collective, right? Groups, the collective, clubs, you know, the way that you fit into the greater of humanity, right? This is a humanitarian energy. This is really, really concerning oneself with the highest good and the highest good of all, right? That's a key to Aquarian energy. And so we begin this Mercury retrograde on the heels of that Leo full moon. And that Leo full moon, of course, was opposite the Sun conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius. So as we really get with our concept of being in transition, and that this is really that turning point, right? We have to remember that we have Uranus and Mars in Taurus, right? We're cornering with those big squares. And so the direction that we want to take up as we make that turn is up for grabs. Some of the things that happen while Mercury is in retrograde are pretty big. Some of them, you know, the Sun is going to square Mars. The Sun is going to conjunct Mercury while Mercury is in retrograde. The Sun is going to move into Pisces while Mercury is in retrograde. Venus has some action on her side, right? Venus is going to square Uranus. Venus is going to conjunct Jupiter, and Venus is going to square Mars. But perhaps the most important aspects are those aspects of Mercury itself, right? So while Mercury is retrograde, Mercury does conjunct the Sun. Mercury trines the North Node. Mercury conjuncts Venus. Mercury is going to conjunct Saturn. Is that correct? Jupiter. Mercury conjuncts Jupiter. And key here is that we have the first of our exacting Saturn square Uranus that is going to dominate our energetic and astrological landscape all through this year. And that is something that we can talk about. But here's the deal. The fact that Mercury is in retrograde while Saturn begins its first square to Uranus, right? This is really about how we shape our future. And those are big deals, right? It is a big deal that on the 20th of February, when Mercury goes direct, Mercury is going to be trining a conjunct North Node and Moon, right? So even though we're transitioning from all of this earth energy that has dominated our value system for the last 250 years, as we lift and elevate and reshape our collective future in response to and in creation of, right, this Aquarian energetic, this air-based energetic right now, we need to keep in mind that the way we do that is going to determine how it feels, right? It can feel like a challenge, or it can feel like a disaster. And that, just like our geocentric perspective on a retrograde, depends on our perspective on what changes, right? We're moving from earth energy and we hold on to those things, or we let it go. We allow it to shift and see what happens, right? Saturn square Uranus. So during this Mercury retrograde, what might you expect? Well, you can expect the typical things, right? In terms of, you know, challenging email problems, car problems, right? Computer problems, technical issues, miscommunication, misunderstanding. Or you can really just create your own success. Because what is Mercury demanding? Mercury retrograde doesn't create your problems during a Mercury retrograde. Mercury just turns up the heat on them, right? And so if you are dotting your I's and crossing your T's, you experience Mercury retrograde in a far different way than somebody who is not slow and deliberate, right? If you're somebody who is a shoot from the hip or shoot from the lip, as the case may be, kind of human being, yeah, you're going to experience some challenges during a Mercury retrograde, because this is a time to be conscious and mindful of what is coming and of what is here, right? You are the determining factor. You are the perspective. And as you are that perspective, everything hinges on that fact, right? Time, life, everything, all those big abstract concepts we deal with on the regular, they turn in the details, right? A watch runs on the tiniest of cogs, right? The smaller the cog, the more important it is, the more work it's doing to turn that big face so flawlessly. So looking at the details behind the scenes is how we run our lives smoothly, right? I quite often talk to my own personal clients about how in our lives we have the back of the house and we have the front of the house, right? And the front of the house is important, right? We have to pay attention to the front of the house. But what's really important, what's crucial, in fact, is the back of the house. Because if the back of the house is not running properly, if you don't have the resources and the staffing and the keys for the back of the house, the front of the house is useless. So during times of Mercury retrograde, pay attention to those back of the house things, right? Stop being so busy out there and concern yourself with the tiny minutia, the things that really matter, right? That's how your big front of the house runs well, right? This is going to be really important when we talk about Saturn square Uranus in the future. And that is going to really be really important this fall. So let's talk about Mercury retrograde, y'all. We got the Queen of Cups and the Two of Cups, right? So the Queen of Cups is, again, we talk about how the queens are the full embodiment of any elemental energy in Eileen land, right? So we have the Two of Cups, which is divine union, right? Divinely blessed. Full Cups. This is balance. This is divine masculine, divine feminine. It could be external in terms of a union, a relationship, or it could be internal in terms of your polar self, right? So this is really union in that heart space. Remember, we talked about that Virgo moon at the beginning of this Mercury retrograde. So feelings must be in service, yes, but they also must be felt, right? We still have Pisces and Neptune, right? That which is better felt than spoken. As Mercury goes retrograde, this is a beautiful time to dive into that concept. What are we feeling, right? How do I feel? And how do I feel as I allow that to drive my motivation in terms of my utopian concepts of what comes next for me and what comes next in terms of the highest good and the highest good of all? The highest good and the highest good of all, right? What's in your heart? How does that work? Well, guess what? There are going to be some things that we're going to have to get rid of, right? Aquarian air energy is all about ideas. And sometimes our own ideas bring us the most heartbreak. Sometimes our own ideas bring us the most sorrow. And sometimes it's simply a question of changing your ideas of love, of happiness, of magic, right? I said that Venus moves into Aquarius during this time. That's absolutely true, right? Love and beauty is an idea, but the idea of love and beauty is no good if you're not feeling it, right? It's no good in a book. It's no good in a painting on the wall. You have to be inspired enough to feel it, or it's just an idea in a book. Think about that one. We've got the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. Again, Pentacles are earth energy, right? This is that Virgo moon. This is, this can be definitely Mars and Taurus, right? This is about also community and teamwork and the compilation of resources. Again, this is also Aquarian energy, the highest good of all, working together, right? Working in tandem, working in concert. And as we contemplate all of this Aquarian energy, these shifts into this air future, right, with Uranus and Taurus really holding down that space, we're able to draw on our resources. Like I said, what good is it to have resources if you're not using them? What good is it to have beautiful ideas of love if you can't feel them, right? What good is it to have plenty of ideas and inspiration and reason to be in sustaining energy, right? Taurus and Aquarius are both fixed signs, and those fixed signs are all about sustained energy over time, right? We are stronger together. We are more together, right? Look at the big picture. How do you fit into it? What's your contribution? We've got the Four of Pentacles and Death. The Four of Pentacles okay, so the Four of Pentacles, this is a beautiful Four of Pentacles, right? So this is about having enough and holding on to it, like buried treasure. We've got this beautiful key, and we're burying our treasure in the earth. But guess what? What happens when you bury something? It's got to be transformed. Nothing is stagnant, right? Nothing is allowed to be stagnant. No idea is allowed to be in stagnation, because it's no good unless you're feeling it. And you can't feel it unless it's in motion, right? So this concept of stagnancy is counterproductive, right? Death moves on all things. We have to give up those old ideas. right? In order to move through to the next thing. So forward motion is impossible if you're holding on to something so tightly. This is what we witness in terms of that Earth energy cycle of 250 years. Nothing can grow, nothing can change, nothing can evolve if it's locked away and buried. Everything has to be allowed to be in the flow, right? You can hang a beautiful thing on the wall, but if it's hung on the wall and buried under a cover and no one sees it for thousands of years, is it actually serving the purpose for which it was created? No, absolutely it's not. King of Swords, all about our ideas, right? He is the master of the ideas. This is the sort of truth, right? It cuts away all the bullshit, all the reasons that, okay, so let's contemplate this. This Four of Pentacles energy, we lock it away, right? We bury it underground. We keep it for ourselves. And what happens? Loss, sadness, feeling left out in the cold. This means I have enough, but not everyone does. And the King of Swords says, you know, that might not be the right way, right? You can't lock it away. You can't bury it in an idea. It has to have flow. It's got to have that beautiful, watery, you know, that's why cups are the element of feeling, right? It's got to have flow to it. And even the King of Swords knows that, y'all. Even the King of Swords understands that one. So then we have the Hanged Man and the Eight of Wands. The Hanged Man is about suspended anticipation, right? He's in contemplation. But for me, the Hanged Man is more about choosing to be in suspended animation, right? So there's a dichotomy here, right? We've got the Eight of Wands, which is all about forward motion. And then we've got the Hanged Man, right? So we can make these choices, right? We can choose suspended animation or we can choose forward motion. Well, here's what I'm going to say. As we make these choices during Mercury retrograde, since this is a Mercury retrograde conversation, what we're being asked to do is to really evaluate, right? Re-evaluate the actions that we've taken and where they've led us, right? And what we've learned and where they can take us. So the choice is, do we release so that we can feel together, right? Or do we keep doing what we've been doing? No, that's not allowed in the universe, right? All things must be transformed. That's simply the way of matter. It's the way of nature. It's the way of everything. Nothing exists frozen in time. There's no such thing as frozen in time. Only your ideas can be frozen in time, right? Your feelings always move forward. Your feelings always move forward. So where you think you're in suspended animation, that's just your thoughts, right? Your feelings are always here. It's no accident that this is the lead, right? So let's get an oracle quickly, because really this is a great opportunity, guys. This is that paradigm shift moment, right? This, especially this Saturn and this Saturn square Uranus that's beginning, right? There's going to be 3 this year, the 17th of February, the 14th of June, the 24th of December. The strongest energy will be from like mid-September to mid-October. But the way that you set it up now is what's really, really going to allow you to call in those blessings, to get out of, okie dokie then, to get out of this concept of being removed from your emotions, right? Because you can't be removed from your emotions. It doesn't work like that. That is an impossibility. That is part of the belief. It's part of the lie you tell yourself, right? It's what keeps you stuck. It's what keeps you here. It's what keeps you in this scarcity mindset, right? That leads only here. And it doesn't matter if you're the one burying the treasure or you're the one going without it or you're the one trying to dig holes to find it. You're still here. No moving forward, right? Milk and honey. Yeah. The taste of prosperity, opportunities born of authenticity, nurturing abundance, trusting that your needs will be met. I mean, come on, really. Woo, you've entered a sweet time in your life, enjoying the land of milk and honey that everyone wants to experience. It's an energy that feels more languid than ambitious, when all of your senses are awake to the unlimited possibilities in the universe. These times are precious and only come when you're in your authentic zone, wearing the world as a loose garment. Not wanting, yet able to be nourished in ways both tangible and subtle. Abundance is an energy that you are a living part of. All of your needs are being met. You are given the gift of nourishment in every form. Here's the deal. Abundance is an energy that you are a living part of. As we move from the ideas of that earth-based energy into the ideas of an air-based, more abstract, less scarcity mindset, less fear-based, less, oh my God, what if I don't have enough for tomorrow? Less sorrowful concept, right? We move into the idea that prosperity simply is a way of existing, right? The structural ideas that we have set up for ourselves, that Saturn and Uranus are going to blow up this year. Allow us to recalibrate, allow us to shift and change, allow us to rewrite, are going to have their roots in this retrograde. And so as we are quiet, as we realize and witness, as we reevaluate, re-examine, and reassess what has been, all the beliefs and ways we have held ourselves back, that we have allowed ourselves to not create, right? We have 2 3 of Pentacles, a 4 of Pentacles, and a 5 of Pentacles, guys. I mean, come on. It's right there. Those ideas are what have to shift and change. How do we do this? This is fear for tomorrow. This is the here and now, right? We're in creation here and now. We're in motion here and now. We're in love and beauty here and now. And the way that we do that is acceptance of this very concept, right? Everything changes. Everything changes in divine order according to your feelings. Or that's what happens. That's what happens. The Ten of Swords asks us to let go. Let go of our own beliefs that are creating our heartache, right? What comes next? Love, right? Woo, it's a lot. Get right with your ideas and you get right with everything. And what are your ideas? Big, broad, shifting, changing. You are part of abundance. It's not something outside you. So, spend a little time with Mercury, with Venus, with your expression, with your ideas about love, right? Because what your ideas about love are is not what love is. And be here and now. That's the only place love is available to you, right? Not in the past, not in the future, only here. All right, guys. I hope that this makes sense. It's a really beautiful set of ideas. So, happy Mercury retrograde. We'll talk several times during that time. Yeah, it's going to be a big one. So, big blessings.